Welcome. I have to adjust that for sure. Let's see who we share it to. Share it to a few places. Yeah, that's close enough. Welcome if anybody's joined in already. So we're gonna adjust the camera here. It's quite cold, maybe a bit over 30. How are we gonna make this feller work? Maybe the tripod has to be adjusted. And maybe I gotta move everything a little further away. This is you listening to me mumble to myself. I'm sure I'll adjust it again. Yeah, I can't quite see the feet. A little bit lower. Bring this a little further. Setting up for a winter picnic here, I think. Be using the pool for this. There we go. I don't think that. Here's a look at that beautiful stone that we were doing our metal chicken stance in. Welcome aboard. This is going to be our second just practice, not really teaching, not really review. See if we can level it and lower it a tiny bit. Too much. That probably looked pretty cool because I don't know if I caught it on the camera, but I definitely caught it. That was pretty fun. I guess I can only balance this so much when who knows, it could fall again. Let me put a little counterweight on. Little Douglas Adams counterweight. That should help. Hi Patricia, I see you. I'll take this to see who else, and then we'll get to practicing. Yeah, I can go a little. Yeah, that should be okay. Let's give this a whirl. Nice. That'll be about in the camera. I'm hesitant to go too far away because I can't microphone myself up on Facebook Live, you know. So here we are. Anyway, I'm going to just do a little stretching. In this case, I'm 2 feet forward, parallel, south facing for me, and I'm going to shift, sink, very much like the crouch stance that we're going to do today anyway. Shift and sink, shift and sink. Generally when I do these, I'll put my hand near my lower center and direct my attention here, but not lose sight of the tracking of the knee as we continue to talk about. And then I'll extend my hand the way I extend my mind. Usually won't go quite a bit lower in class. Do a little bit of timed, a little bit of Murthy practice, and go from there. I do the calves a little bit. Gotta remember to come back a little bit. And feet together, and raise the heels, lower the heels. Shift to the heels, shift to the ball, raise the heels. What I like to do when I do this is try not to just come up. See all that space between my calves and knees? I like to come up and try and keep it not here but here. And then down, and then up, and then down. And as you get more comfortable with this, try and hold the top, and then try and slow the down. And of course we can also slow the up. Slow the up, like an elevator, the heels rise, smooth, invariably, no hesitation, and slow. Now just warming up the muscle groups in the lower legs, or I guess the whole legs here, lower body. Probably have limited time today. I have still got some farm work to do, still have an errand to do, still have class to prepare for, and of course the sunlight is maybe got about a half hour left in it. I think about average these videos are going about a half hour, maybe 40, maybe 25. So I'm thinking we just have enough time to get some practice in, but the idea here isn't to teach the stance, it isn't even to review and deepen the stance, sort of deepen our understanding of it, just to practice it together. Although probably we'll still learn something, and that's okay. I'm gonna try a long one, come up. I'm using my arms today for this. I like to help direct the mind and the breath to their task. So kind of symbolic when I'm doing with the hands, but we do that kind of thing a lot in Qigong. This is a nice one to do anaerobically too. I really like the whole of this practice. Let me know if you're having trouble hearing me and I need to speak up. Good. So we're gonna come into Fubu stance or drop stance, crouch stance, Tse stance, whatever somebody might call it. And I talk about a few different ways that we can be safe about the practice of it. And really that is kind of being safe about the failure in our practice of it, and that's okay. So one thing to do is to work into the stance and aid yourself in the balance of it so that you can work on the flexibility primarily, but also the endurance of the connective tissue and the muscle tissues in the legs. So, you know, we might practice this with the support, and as I'm trying to go lower to find the stretch, I'm relying a bit on an external source for my balance. Or we could say that I'm worrying less about falling over, but I am getting the stretch. So this guy didn't bring one here, but this can be done kind of, as you get lower, you can sit on a bench and then come up. And if you can come up slowly without lurching forward, without doing it fast, then you have pretty good function there. And while you might enjoy the bench, you don't need the bench. Okay, so we're gonna open the foot. Both of my feet were parallel, facing south. The one that'll bear more weight will open, maybe 30 degrees or so. The knee will track, and then I'll sit. Yeah, I think my plan, this is hard on the body, you probably heard. My plan will be just to sit in this for a number of seconds, let's say 30 for now. but maybe 10, maybe 5, whatever it is for you. So both heels stay flat. The whole of the foot stays on the floor. This leg gets fairly straight. If I go too wide of a stance, I really can't get enough weight on one of my feet. The weight falls too far to the middle of the 2 feet. And if I go too narrow, I can't really go very far down, and I'm going to end up wanting to bow, I think, in order to feel like I went lower. So trying to find the correct width for you, your height, and of course your flexibility is going to be key. Usually I'd be like a little bit wider than this, maybe another foot. But of course this whole series is just practicing here. I didn't measure the time. I'm going to guess it was 30 seconds. Of course our practice is stable footwear, stable non-slip surface, level. I have a little bit of slope here. I don't have stable footwear on. So this is not modeling how I'd like to do it. And of course, how I'd like to do this would be somewhere warmer. It's like 33 right now or something. Right before I hit go live, I threw on this brown outer jacket. Good. Shift, open. Good. One quality in the drop stance is to have this ability to shift side to side without coming up, as a, doing this. But I'm going to encourage us to come up so that we coordinate the turn of the feet, the adjustment of the mind, the reassertion of the stance on the other side with less strain and less challenge. And when you're in that drop stance, it could be translated as like a falling prostrate stance or a leveling stance, like a bringing to level, right? As we have 2 feet, and then the rest of us have built on top of that. We're sort of triangular shaped, and we have a wider stance and lowering the top. It's still going to be a triangle, but it's a lot closer to level, so it has this idea of leveling as we do that. Switching. Again, I keep talking instead of looking at the clock. My plan was to kind of measure 30 seconds, but I'm just guesstimating it. I'll see if you have any questions. Nobody ever does, but I'll look anyway. Thanks, Dave. 55 inches of HD. Great. Yeah, I'm glad you two guys are doing it with us. That's fantastic news. Hello, Robert. Okay. There's our Pubu, our drop stance, crouch stance, shifting. Sometimes if I'm doing this as a stretch, I'll do what I'm doing, and I'll just, every time I adjust, I'll end up a little bit wider, so I'm kind of warming myself up to as low as I might like to go. I think I'll model this with the external balance. Here I have a 4-footed cane. I want to try and keep this near me as opposed to here, which is going to encourage me to lean to reach the support. Right? So you feel it's there if you need it at all times. So shift, turn, open, and sink. So remember, we have that sense of the hamstring moving in the direction of the calf, or in this case, since I'm quite upright, hamstring moving towards the Achilles or the heel. So same tracking all the time when we do this, tracking the knee, keeping the heels down, dropping the tailbone. So something I want to talk about is generally, if I'm here like in a horse stance and I open this a little bit, that's going to encourage me or give me the ability to turn slightly to my right. And then as I start to track the knee, it's going to encourage me to go to my right, or open the door to that, if not encourage. And as I sink, that almost certainly encourages us to turn a little bit to the right to find our balance. But that tends to straighten out this hip, you know, the angle between the end of the torso and the start of the leg. And really what I want to do is sit this hip down. So if you feel like that hip starts to get a little higher than the weighted side hip, the more weighted side hip, the open side hip, what we want to do is turn. The heel doesn't move, the foot doesn't change, but emphasize this inguinal crease or qua or valley or fold by, rather than being here, here. So if I can come back to square, that's going to be a whole lot more. That might be enough of a stretch that, okay, I need some balance here. But we can also do it eventually to actually kind of face, for me, more east, maybe a little bit southeast towards that extended leg side. And that's most often how you see the stance used, is that this is who I'm addressing, not here, obviously not behind me. So we'll try that on the other side. I brought this out as another idea, just using a stick. So I'm coming down. I wouldn't recommend a stick this short. If you do lose your balance, maybe you're concerned about impaling yourself. So, but this is kind of my Murthy stick for today. That's why I brought it out. But using a stick can work well. Again, I'd rather have a stick that's got, you know, like rubber feet on the cane. But since I'm on the soil here, I can get this into the soil just a little bit. And it's got pretty good purchase there. And so that's there, and I have it if I like it, if I need it, if I want it. So working on that feeling. Next version or next detail is that I want to feel like I don't simply put all my weight here. I want to feel like my weight is, maybe you can see where my center is here with the stick. I want to feel like my weight is a little bit shared in the feet, not just as far to this leg as I can. So perhaps you can see my center, and then when I adjust it, that's now kind of under the nipple instead of underneath the trachea. So a little bit of a shift shares the work between these 2 feet a little bit more equitably. I really want to switch sides to have a sip of my tea. Okay, other side. There's my tea. Good. So we talked yesterday in our first review. Hi Donna again, I hope you're practicing with us. Glad you're checking in. Hi Udi. Howdy, 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 hello. So what we talked about is a totem or a Murthy talisman. Since we're doing these to invite a true beginner, I haven't been adding much in the way of hands, things for you to do. And so to bring our focus to something meaningful to us, so perhaps healing, perhaps inspiring, perhaps a sense of gratefulness, a sense of love, fond memories, that sort of a thing, we might take a physical item into the practice. In this case, I got this stick chewed by a beaver, and this is representing somebody that's really important to the farm. And so my practice here is to hold this while I'm practicing. That's it. But this is really just to help direct my heart and my mind and give myself something to do that's meaningful and functional but doesn't take away from the stance, particularly if I'm doing the stance after the manner that we did yesterday, where, all right, set the timer 3 minutes, and what do I do? Just wiggle my fingers or daydream? I'd rather be attentive to something that has meaning, or someone, right? So the something represents the someone. Maybe it was a gift from them. Maybe it relates to them in some other way. So what I'd ask you to consider, and some of these considerations don't really make a difference either way, given the person or the totem, but I still consider them every time. Do I hold it with one hand or two? Right? And I think this is a two-hand one for me. How do I hold it with those hands? So for example, are the two palms up, both palms down, one up, one down? Am I just holding it very lightly or firmly? Am I using all my fingers? Am I holding it on one side or the other, or whatever? So how I grip it, where and why. And then I want to think, where do I hold it? Is there a level that suits me? Right? Maybe this is the way I want to practice. Maybe I want to hold it at the heart level. Maybe at the lower center, as a couple examples. I can't show you this in profile at the moment because of the stance, but do I hold it far from me, fairly close, or more or less against myself? Maybe even actually against myself. Again, I'm just giving 3 ideas, but far, near, and really proximate. So I have kind of 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 9 different choices, 3 levels, 3 depths, right? But I also have a sense of, do I want to hold it to my side or to my other side, right? Do I want to hold it, I don't know, under my legs or behind my back, or who knows? Maybe I didn't want to hold it with my hands. I want to hold it in the crook of the elbow. But I think about, 1 or 2 points of contact, what the grip is. In this case, it's an elbow grip, how close to me, what level, what side. And then I also want to consider how I want to hold it. Is there a way it should face? Is there a top and a bottom, right? And I don't know the answer to that, but if you ask that question, you can realize, hey, that doesn't really apply to this. It's just a stick, it doesn't matter. Or, oh my God, that's it actually really important. I want it to face a certain direction, okay? So I think I've been in there while I talked, so I'll switch to the other side. I'll get a sense of our time, and we'll actually sit in this one, I guess. One element in the stance is not to sink so much that it really gets your shoulders to tip forward. I want to feel like I'm upright as best I can. Most people can go lower if they simply lean forward, but the idea is to track that knee well, go as low as you are finding appropriate for yourself today, and that your doctor and teacher would agree with. And maintain the posture, not just chase the ego and its urgings to go lower. Good. Feel free to type any questions you have or comments. So we'll chimney our way out. Boom. It's funny, I was just going to transition to the idea of falling, which is why we have the blanket out here today. I think I'll just come in and see any comments. So far we haven't fallen over. I drew, no comments. No questions. Here's me being disappointed again. Okay, so yeah, I guess I'll just do it. I was just trying to think if I need to face you or not. So one thing I want to warn against is if we do get to the point where we're doing a stance like this and we're pushing how low we're able to do it, and we're getting to that teeter place where I might lose this, I might give out. Often what people will do in that, I'll do like a horse stance as an example. They go a little further than is appropriate for their level. And you know, your level can change day by day. I didn't sleep well last night. I had a Charlie horse this morning. I'm feeling, I just had a full meal and my stomach is full, or something like that. My level can change. It's not a level like a rank in martial arts. It's just your level, what's appropriate for you. And it's a good idea to really self-assess as you warm up every time. Don't just say to yourself, however subconsciously, I must be what I was yesterday, and then begin to perform. Some days you're less than you were yesterday, and it could just be that you banged your knee when you fell in the garden, and it could be that you're tired or distracted or there's bad news for you. Who knows? You could certainly be better than yesterday too, but the idea is find your level of appropriateness. So let's say I go a little bit outside the bounds of my appropriate level for today, and that could just mean I didn't go too far, but I did it for too long, right? So it could be intensity or duration. It could be the number of repetitions. It could be simply the amplitude of the practice, you know, the depth of the stance in our case. But at any rate, I come in and let's agree that this is too far for me today. And then I start to feel that, like, oh, I'm in trouble. I got to get out. I'm cramping up, for example, right? Or just getting to exhaustion. You'll see people kind of lurch out. There's a sort of fueled by worry, anxiety, or fear urge to rapidly get out. And generally, rapidly getting out is not safe. When there's a fire in the building you're in, they don't say, run for your lives, trample people. They say, quietly, orderly, quickly, get on out. That's really important, right? There's an awful lot more risk than simply the fire. It's how people leave the vicinity. And so that may not really do too much in a horse stance, like, you know, so I kind of lost my balance, and that's why I use that as a demo. But certainly in lower stances, if that happens in a one-legged stance, usually people put the foot down. Even if it goes down fast, they're actually ultimately strain free in most cases. But what we see in a low to the ground kind of a stance, somebody goes outside their level of appropriateness, right? Right, and they're getting tired, they're leaning forward or whatever, and they start to lose it. When they lurch here, they're endangering quite a bit. So what I'd recommend is just falling back. And the way that we would fall back is we would sit the butt, exhale when the butt touches, and then unroll the back. And depending on your level of fitness and skills, you might have a cushion just an inch below your butt when you're at that level. For me, I don't know, that was 10 inches or whatever, and that's fine. And I just put this out here so I didn't, you know, grass stain whatever I'm wearing today. But you know, my training, we do a lot of falls and rolling, and I don't mind taking the fall, but to you that might have been scary. So you could do this with a bunch of blankets or a training mat or a mattress or a bunch of pillows from your couch, and you might, I don't have a great example here, sorry, but you'd be doing this practice and just under your butt is safety, right? An inch or two. And then if you feel like, oh, I'm done, just sit and practice coordinating the connection of the butt with the earth with an exhale. And then unroll the spine and then carefully collect yourself. So that's actually a really nice practice for any human being, because we're all in the middle of this grand bipedal experiment, which means we all occasionally will fall. So in the stance training, it's really nice to not find yourself there and then realize you haven't prepared for it. Go to your linen closet, grab 15 blankets, pile them up, do your practice so at your low point your butt is just a couple inches from them. And then actually just practice. Go down and then commit the butt to dropping, knowing that it's cushioned. And the moment the butt touches, the exhale begins through the mouth, then the spine unrolls. So as I sit, I crunch my abdomen to help the exhalation and to help protect the rest of me by making myself a bit round in the spine, and then releasing that roundness. And then collect yourself however you are on the ground and build yourself up to standing again. Good. So a little bit of review. I had to check the time, I guess. Hey, Belinda, show the stance and profile. Thanks, Dave. I didn't post my socks and box video yet, but I'm teaching a video with socks on and on the floor. And my Sifu's watching today. Hopefully he'll be here this weekend helping out. So, by the way, folks, this weekend is our bi-weekly Shingi session. So here's the stance and profile, Dave. So I'm in a horse stance, if you will, feet parallel, in my case facing east, on the wide side. I've opened the foot on the side I'm going to be shifting to, maybe 30 degrees. I've shifted and tracked the knee towards that foot. Kept both heels flat on the ground. Drop, and then look for the crease on that extended side. Even if you can turn, try not to lean. You want to sink here. And then up, I'll do the other side, kind of facing you as well. You'll usually see this with really fun shapes as people are doing this. Belinda just logged in. You guys should check out her Facebook page. She's got a new gallery opening. I think she just posted a piece today called Zero, which felt like a really Buddhist title. So I'm just coming back to horse stance to cool down, because I think we're losing the light. Exhale, 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 and then drop the butt, exhale, drop the butt, exhale. Right when the butt's at the bottom, exhale. Good. Shake it out, shake it out. I'll just take horse stance, see if there's questions, but probably not. Hope that helped for you, Dave. But I've got to finish to get to the rest of my classes. Dave, see you Sunday at 11, right out here on the lawn for some Shingi practice. All right, much love, everybody. Thank you, Sifu. Glad you could join. Aiming to do it again tomorrow.